Hello and welcome back to a My Team career mode on F1 2020. We're here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and as you can see we're back at our team headquarters, just need to advance time. Of course I burp in the first thing I say on this video. God, that's awful. Alright, so as we go into the activities, we have a few things to do, and I'm looking at the G-Force training just because it might carry our hopeless teammate to a little bit of a higher level, improves his racecraft just by 1. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Also we're gonna get some R&D upgrades. Finally, I didn't do it on the first race just because I don't really have that many. So I'm gonna get one for the powertrain department. I'm gonna go over to the chassis and get the central under tray, and down to aero and get front wing flaps, I think. Yeah, front wing main flap. So hopefully they should come in by Vietnam next week. But as for now, we're still in the stock car. And we can also get a secondary sponsor. So really, I was just looking at Novus, because their team goal is to complete a total of 30 laps during practice, and they pay quite a lot. 124k for completing the goals. So yeah, I was looking at Novus, and I think we're going to sign with them. Slingshot Novus Wallace F1 team. So out in practice for the track acclimatization program, and it's gone really well. This is our first lap, and it's almost entirely purple. I've only got green on a couple of the zones here, and we've purpled everything, so that's a very promising start. We've got 505 points. Whereas if you compare that to Australia, that's immensely better. And even on tyre management, which is something I struggled with, I could not do it. I've actually got in the purple on the first one with a 10th up on the Delta, which is really promising for my pace. And then we're on to fuel management, where we're almost in the purple, but you can do a little cheeky trick here. If you're almost in the purple, you can just lift off, because you see I'm 6/10, so just lift off before the line. Optimal fuel usage, and ERS is pretty easy as well, just chucked it into none. For a little bit, picking up the tow from Pierre Gasly ahead here, and again getting 4 purples in a row on our practice programs, which is really, really good. But then we moved to qualifying pace in P2, and it didn't go so well. Granted, we're not as catastrophically off the pace as we were in Australia, like 6/10 off, but we are still 3.5 off, and our estimated position is still the back of the grid. But last time that happened, it's you know, we proved Jeff wrong, but Louis Delatraz still isn't going out. But we're faced with a predicament here, because both my sets of mediums have been returned. So I have to go out on softs for race strategy, which means I will pass with flying colours. You see, I'm a full second up on that lap there, and again on the second lap, but it won't be accurate, but I don't really like the new tyre allocation that they've got for this game. It might be new, or might just be, again, incompetent. But I'm going to have to switch it up for next week, if I can. But yeah, purple for that. So we purpled 5 out of the 6 practice programs, which is really, really promising for us. But as we skip to the end of practice, I had quite an embarrassing spin on the curb here. It's a pretty standard spin. I just got hooked on the curb, and then I had to do a 3-point turn, but this is where the embarrassing bit comes, because I spun the wheels so much that I over-rotated the car the wrong way, and therefore had to do another 3-point turn. And it just got worse from here on out, because I tried to rejoin the track, and in doing so I spun again. So really, I'm just doing what Bottas did in Austria, only it's the Wallace Desert mowing service. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But here we go then for Q1 on our first lap on the soft tyres at Bahrain. And I had turned the difficulty up from 102 to 103. I'm still trying to find my footing with that. I don't actually know where it should be, but I feel like 103 for this track at least, because we passed the practice programs with flying colours, and it seemed to be okay during the race. So it wasn't much harder than it was before, so I'm quite happy with that. I might turn it up a bit more in future, but we're doing okay so far. We're taking a very wide line into turn 10, but ironically that's the best I've taken it all weekend. We managed to swoop in there from the, I don't know if that's the standard racing length the drivers use, but it seemed to work for me, so I might have to try that during the race. But coming into the final sector, coming around the final corner, I do like this get it wrong quite a lot. It's sometimes that way with corners. But coming into the beginning as we cross the line, we're in P4, 127.4 if I can read that correctly. But yeah, it's alright, and we're on board with Louis Delatraz. Yeah, he's gone last by a mile. He's a second behind George Russell. And 3/10 behind Nicholas Teeth, 2/10 behind Nicholas Teeth. Look at that middle sector time! That's a second worse than mine! I'm gonna fire him. So on to our final lap of Q1 after that rant. Into turn 1. Yeah, let's see if we can improve and maybe get into Q2 for the second time in 2 races. That would be really, really good. We're down in P16, so we're not quite to where we were in Q1 last time before we made that improvement. Just behind Lando Norris and Antonio Giovinazzi. And we go a little bit deep into turn 10. We don't quite match the great launch that we got last time, so we're down in the red again. But as we skip onto the final corner, we're back up in the green by a little under a tenth. So is this going to be enough to make up any positions to get us into Q2? It's P15. Yes, it is. Which is really good for us. And I was really quite pleased with that lap, even though we did make that little mistake at turn 10, or if you can really call it a mistake. I just took the corner as I normally would, but the other one was pretty good. And as we look down the field, I'm dreading this. Really? So after that terrible disappointment, it was into Q2, and we decided to go out on the mediums for just a banker lap like we did in Australia on the inters. Coming into turn 1 now, I do like this corner. I like most of the corners on this track, actually. It can be hard to perfect, but it is quite a fun track to just hot lap around and try and get the best lap possible. And the DRS zones do help quite a lot. It's a very straight track, this one, so straight line speed does help. And I feel like our car is pretty good in that respect. The Renault engine certainly better than the Honda ones. But as we go into Sector 2, we're on a pretty good lap, even though it is a medium lap, so we are going to be in last by the end of this. It doesn't really matter. Coming into this kind of hairpin thing, and we just plant the throttle in first gear, and we've spun. Again in this sector. It's not being very nice to me, or maybe I just suck at it. So we get out of the way of Alex Albon there. Max Verstappen puts in the fastest lap. But the good thing about mediums is I can go out again for another lap, because we're only on 4 and 5% tyre wear after that spin. All we have to do is save fuel and ERS before doing it. So yeah, that's the good thing about going out on mediums. So on to the first lap of Q1. As you can see, what a blistering time that was. I won 39.6, if I can see that right. But this is our true qualifying 2 banker lap. Losing a little bit of time on the exit, then we're almost a 10th down on the last lap, which is not good pace. And perhaps we can make it up in Sector 2. There was a lot of time to be gained there from last lap. Almost 2/10 down as we round that corner, around Vettel corner. We're almost, well, we do gain quite a lot on the exit there, to be fair. We're almost in the green again. Coming down into the dreaded hairpin now. We are back in the green. Maybe we can make some more time up there. And look at that exit we've got. We are 6 seconds up, 7, 8 seconds up around there. I have no idea how we've managed to do that. We've pulled an amazing lap out the back. We might be on pole position with this pace, which is absolutely amazing from our fledgling team. I don't know how I did that. I just pulled an amazing lap out the back, and we're still gaining time here, almost 9 seconds up on our original pace. If we don't get pole with this, or make it through into Q3, I don't know what I'll do. So coming across the line now, 10.5 seconds up, and we're still P11. Yeah. But now it's on to our final lap in Q2 on the soft tyres. We are sitting now currently last in Q2, but maybe we can make up a couple more positions since we're on the grippier compounded tyre now. Getting a little bit squirrely on the exit there, it's quite easy to do that, but still we're up 3/10 on our last lap because of the different tyre compound. As qualifying completes, we are the last car out on track once again. I like timing it quite perfectly, although it doesn't always work out for me. I do miss the line sometimes. But coming down into the dreaded hairpin once more, 7/10 up this lap. We're doing quite well. I did a pretty good second sector, but it's all about turn 10. Are we going to get this right this lap? We brake quite nicely, just turning in there, and we get a pretty good corner, actually. That is a nice, clean corner, and we do gain a lot of time on the exit there. Activating DRS for the second or third DRS zone. I don't know if you count the pit straight as the first or third. But coming into turns 11 and 12, this corner is really nice, almost kissing the apex on the inside, but you've got to be really careful about doing that because you can spin very easily on that curb, as I've done many, many times before if you hick a wheel onto it. But now coming down the back straight into the final corner, hopefully we don't make a mistake here. We ride the curb a little bit, which is a mistake, but we're still 1.7 seconds up on our original time. So what's it going to be as we cross the line? It's P15 once again, which shows we have consistency, and we've beaten Antonio Giovinazzi out of Q2, which I was really proud of that pace, actually. It was quite a good lap on the softs, and yeah, I was happy with that. P15 once again makes up for the catastrophe that is Louis Delatraz. I guess onto the race. First of all, before the race, I've just got a nice little thing that Jeff has sent me in his email. He has acknowledged his awful puns and his famous no heroics into Sandoval please radio message in the first paragraph of this email, which is quite a nice little thing that Codemasters have added in there. So, yeah.
We're here again then at a circuit famous for its stunning visuals and thrilling battles for glory. Who will take the spotlight in the Bahrain Grand Prix today? We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Alexander Albon and Ricciardo, Sainz, Ocon, Perez and Lance Stroll, Norris, Bottas. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Kimi Raikkonen and Kvyat, Rose, Giovinazzi, Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Russell, Latifi and Louis Delatraz. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So here we are then, lined up on the start grid for the second race of our championship. Just changing the setup in here, and the recommended strategy is mediums to hard, which is it's a strategy that's paid off for me before, and it leaves it open to if safety cars come out, we can pit in quite easily since it's only a one-stop. Putting in a little bit extra fuel just because this track is quite straight, so we're going to need it. And yeah, on to lights out. Here we go then, lined up alongside Kvyat once again. It's 1, 2, 3, 5 lights. Lights out. Here we go, and we get a pretty poor start alongside the Alpha Tauri and the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi behind us. But we're going to try and send it out the outside of Raikkonen and Kvyat ahead, and Valtteri Bottas there in the mix once again. We're going to try and swoop around the outside here of the Alpha and the Mercedes, and we get past both of them in turn 1, but now we're going to have to defend from the Iceman coming up on our inside using 3-3 coming into sector 2, and he does pull a dive on us and Lance Stroll there, and now Valtteri Bottas is alongside us coming into sector 2, racing a Mercedes nice of the season, and we managed to keep our position ahead of the Flying Finn there. We go for an unintentional dive on Kimi Räikkönen and we almost get spun around from out braking ourselves, and as a result of that, Bottas is now alongside once again. We have to give him the space on the inside of turn 10. It's a very, very daring move there from the Valtteri, but he manages to get through, just checking our front wing there because it tapped his front right wheel, but luckily we don't have any. And now Danny Kvyat on the soft compound tyre is behind us, and Valtteri Bottas has managed to get ahead. A little twitchy on the exit there, trying to get past him actually. He doesn't seem that fast in the in this sector. It might just be the first lap, cold tyres, you never know. But it's pretty good start. We've gained 1 position off our original starting grid place. Coming on to lap 2 now, Danny Kvyat is looking very racy behind us on his soft compound turns. We almost spin again. We are really not taking this hairpin very well, and he gets past us on the run into turn 10. We almost got the back of the AlphaTauri, and apparently we did, as we get a warning for the collision. But on my end, it didn't really look like I touched him, but it must have been minuscule. To the end of lap 2, Sebastian Vettel puts in the fastest lap into the final corner with Antonio Giovinazzi behind us, and we made a mistake on the final corner, which has allowed the Alfa Romeo driver to get in our slipstream. Obviously no DRS yet, as race control just enables it. This is pure pace and overtake ERS. He's going to try and go around on the outside here, but we're going to give him enough room to try and do that, hooking our floor on the curb there. Must have damaged it a little bit, but we managed to stay ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi and just getting Kvyat's DRS. But as he tries to go up the inside, we go around the outside and he's locked up into us. So hopefully we don't have any damage from that. And we check our front, and we do have yellow damage. We'll get an action replay on that. He just locks up. I turn in where I was meant to, giving him the room on the inside. But yeah, obviously not very happy with him for that. We're going to try and continue on. It doesn't look like that much damage, although it is going to hinder us around some of the corners, because there are quite a lot of sweeping bends around here, which I might not be able to take flat out anymore, which I could with a full front wing. But we're going to try and continue on with our normal strategy. I'm not going to pit in for hards any earlier than lap 14, I think it is, when I'm trying to go in, because if it was like orange front wing damage, then I might, but it's only light green / yellow, so I think we're okay to continue. But now we just got to stay ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi. I don't know what he was thinking into there. Obviously he was just trying to get past us in the opening laps, but yeah, it's not come off well for either of us, because I hope he has damage, but I don't think he does, unfortunately for us. But moving on now to lap 5 in the second DRS sim, where he's coming back at us again, and this is personal now because he's taken off our front wing, so we are slow, and Kvyat has pulled a gap of 5 seconds on us because of this. And you can see we're understeering around the I think that's turn 12, the spinning corner online. As we asked Jeff for the pit stop information, I don't think he actually gives it to us, but Antonio Giovinazzi is coming back at us in the final corner. It was a very gutsy move from him there, but we squeeze him out wide a little bit there and force him to get a bad exit. And we go on the, I don't know what to call that, the runoff area a little bit more there, but I don't think he's close enough to go for a move. Pierre Gasly there also looking pretty pacey behind him. And Pierre Gasly goes up our inside, and I get spooked a little bit there, so I have to go out wide, and the Frenchman is out on our inside, so that is a pretty good move from Pierre Gasly there, really late on the brakes. And Antonio Giovinazzi is now coming back again. I'm very wary of this corner with him on the inside, so we try not to give him that much space like we did last time, but he's on our inside coming into sector 2, and we don't give him much space, and he's round behind us. And really, that's payback. That's what you get for taking my front wing off. I don't give you much room. He could have gone a little bit more to the outside there. And as we skip on, Daniel Ricciardo is in for the first stop of the race. And don't worry about Antonio Giovinazzi. He is still in this race. He just lost a couple of positions to the Haas boys behind. And as I say, that's payback for taking my front wing off. The stewards might not agree with that way of thinking, but I certainly do, so I don't really care. And now on lap 7, coming on lap 8, we've got to try and catch the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, because obviously we lost that position fighting in turn 1 last lap. But with a broken front wing, that is going to be easier said than done. We're still going to try though, kicking it up into 3-3 as a lot of people come into the pits. As we look ahead now, and the AlphaTauri is being held up by Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari, so that has allowed us to gain on him and get back within his DRS zone, although we were behind at the activation point, so unfortunately we didn't reap the benefit on the first DRS zone of the lap. And now Max Verstappen is coming up behind us once again, like he did in Australia after his pit stop. He was really motoring along behind us, almost within our DRS zone as well, and he was quite far behind after coming out of his pit box. And we make another mistake on the final corner. The pressure is really getting to us with that flying, raging bull behind us as his teammate now, Alex Albon, comes into the pit, and Charles Leclerc, is he going to hold us up like Sebastian Vettel did? And it's gone full circle, and the other Ferrari holds us up, which there's a surprising sense of continuity with that. But here he comes back at us again, Max Verstappen going up our inside. Is he going to get the move done? There's no real use fighting this, but we still do. Give him a run for his money on the outside. We get oversteer on the exit though, so he's through into P9. And now Alex Albon, immediately his teammate is up our gearbox, and he's already pulled a gap of 2.5 seconds out on us. Trying not to spin on the inside there, because obviously we still do have that wing damage. I've sort of gotten used to it by this point, as we're trying to gap the Red Bull behind us, and he's probably saving energy and fuel where we're having to waste it in front. He's just saving it for the long straight here, where he's going to get past us. Again, there's no real reason to fight this. I'm just going to let him go through on the inside, not battle it too hard. And we get the added benefit of having a little bit of slipstream from the Red Bull in front to try and aid our race in itself, catching up on Pierre Gasly. But now, as we skip on to lap 13, this is when we decided to come into the pits. Our tyres are actually, we've got the red tyre warning on the right-hand side of the MFD. I didn't actually realise that the situation was that dire, but apparently it was. And we're one of the quite early pitters on this strategy, I think, just going onto the hard compound tyre, running right the way down to the end of the pit lane. Hopefully my team can give me a good stop, changing my front wing, because I think it will be necessary. We lose about 8 seconds in the pit stop by changing a front wing. But I think that will be worth it, because we've got 15 laps left. And as we cut ahead to lap 15 now, we're behind both Haas cars of Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean. We've got 3-3 fuel and ERS, DRS, and the slipstream from the Haas in front is kind of the best of all worlds there. And we're almost going for a dive on both of them into T1. But Perez is holding Romain Grosjean up catastrophically there, and that has lost us a lot of pace on the exit. Magnussen tries to get past us again. As the next lap, we're going to try and make a move on his teammate, going to the outside there, just fitting our car into that gap. There was a Wallace-sized space there, and I took every inch of it. But he's coming back on our inside. He's going to be able to get it back. No, we have DRS on him. As up ahead, I think that's Daniel Ricciardo has an engine problem ahead of Carlos Sainz, so that has held everyone up there and brought out the virtual safety car on lap 18. Nothing much interesting happened there, so skipping on a few. Now Lewis Hamilton has had an engine failure and the full safety car is out 3 laps later. So we make a really quick decision to box this lap for soft compound tyres under safety car, because I think this could really benefit our strategy, because we're right at the back of the grid now, behind Nicholas Latifi. As the safety car comes in, we don't get a very good launch, but maybe we can pull the dive up into turn 1. Because even though we are right at the back of the field, they are all bunched up together, so there is a possibility of points in this race, because everyone else is on worn hards, or worn mediums. As we get past the Williams on the exit of T1 there, pretty good. And now it's our teammate, we just pull a huge dive on there, if he crashed into us, we'll fire him. So it was good of him to leave us the space. Now George Russell on lap 25 coming around here, not really orthodox overtaking place, but we managed to make it work. And now up the inside of Danny Kvyat, almost up the inside of Kevin Magnussen there as well. Luckily we don't go for the move because we have another opportunity and another stab at him at turn 11 next lap. Then it was onto the McLaren of Carlos Sainz, and we go for a really gutsy move on the inside here. A huge dive, almost going up the back of him here. And as you can see from the onboard camera from the Spaniard, that was just as good from his onboard. As we go for another dive on Esteban Ocon, really making use of these softs. Luckily the Frenchman gives us the space and yields the position to us, and he's coming back at us now on the final lap. So we've got to make this stick, and we outbrake ourselves a little bit, but we turn it into a move on Sergio Perez. It's a little bit of a diff, but to be honest, it was unintentional, so can you really blame me for that? As we look ahead now, and Valtteri Bottas is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix from a very tight contested field as we get past Antonio Giovinazzi on the line. What a finish for our team.
A fantastic team effort then to secure victory here in the desert. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. After today's performance, Valtteri Bottas secures the championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Fins have we had now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed, and a good job in traffic as well.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improve their position in the championship. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Claire. After the safety car, it was pretty easy, to be honest. If you were even watching the race, you would see that. Yeah, soft tyres versus hard is always going to end up like that.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
They were. They were going absolutely crackers on the pit wall.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
No, it wasn't. And it's all the fault of that one smug man.
Great. Well, that's everything.
That is everything indeed. Thank you guys so much for watching this My Team video. Next week it's Vietnam. I haven't raced on that track ever. We gained a whole lot of positions during this race, so tantalizingly close to the points. Hopefully we can get them next week. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye.